Well. We are back again, yet again, for another incredible episode of the Good Service Podcast. Those that are joining us for the first time, I'm your host, Joseph Dunham. Those of you who continue to join us that are part of our community and our audience, thank you for coming back. Very excited for today's conversation. But first, want to share with our first-time listeners who we are. We are your source of good news, wholesome stories, inspiring stories around the good services nonprofits and other service-based organizations are doing within their communities to make it a better place. Sharing these stories for you, right? To highlight the good that's happening across the world, possibly in your backyard that you may not be aware of. Our community, we continue to grow, and we're grateful that you grow with us. So thank you for joining us for the first time. For those that continue to come back, thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, referring. That's how we got here. You are what drives us each and every day. So episode 5 of season 2, crazy. We're here. And I couldn't be more excited to introduce today's guest. Of course, we'll start with her accolades of many. She's the CEO of TACT, that's TACT, a design and consulting firm, Pillars ATL, which is a community center and creative studio, and the founder and executive director of Pillars Initiative, 501c3 nonprofit organization. She is a dedicated life coach, entrepreneur, mother of 3, so some would say mompreneur. And she holds a master's degree in nonprofit management, educational leadership. Her journey began as the first generation college graduate, which set the stage for her passion for education and empowerment. With that, over the last 8 years of experience as a life coach, 3 in the full-time entrepreneur space. She aims to guide others through authentic living, helping them navigate life's complexities with grace and perseverance. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Tiffany Alicia Cuthbert.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here today with you.
I'm beyond excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us, being a part of our organization, being a part of our community. Yes. Did I hit that right? Is there anything I'm missing, Mamapreneur?
No, everything is fine. Master's degrees, 2 of them, one in nonprofit management and the other in educational leadership, because I don't want anyone to try to go and get a master's of nonprofit management and educational leadership. that doesn't exist. So 2 masters. I'm a forever learner. So yeah, but everything is perfect. Thank you.
Of course. And how are you doing today? How you feeling?
I am good. The kids are back in school, so mommy has time to handle business, and I am thankful for that. So I am doing great today, blessed and highly favored.
Excellent. How old are your 3? I don't think we've dove into that.
Oh, yes. I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So, yeah, I have toddlers at this point, so I have 3 under 5.
The tots. I'm one of 3. I'm the middle child, so I take a liking
baby
to
of 3. I'm a baby of 3, so I understand that world.
Look at us. So we have different perspectives. We'll have to talk about that. Being the baby, my younger brother's a baby of 3, so he gets everything, and then I was just a person just wandering the world by myself. It felt like at times.
Yeah, my middle sister. Yeah. It's not always the case. We don't get everything.
Okay, I'm sure. Right. Anywho, well, let's talk more about you. So everybody, you all know how this goes. Those who continue to come back and listen and support. I love to share how I got to meet our guest and what that looks like. And so this episode and how I came across Tiffany and Pillars Initiative is a huge shout out to Edwina Price. I was at a social event hosted by Your Social. Shout out to Leslie White. She is the owner of, it's a remote social networking club here in Atlanta. Basically, if you're a remote worker of some sort and your office isn't here, she had it on her heart to get people together, right? Just to collab, you get that office feel, even though you may not work together. Back in June, she hosted an event with Edwina. And Edwina has an organization called How in the Health. And they did it in reference to Men's Mental Health Month in June. So really cool event. Got to just mix and mingle with a bunch of other entrepreneurs and people that, again, work remotely in their 9 to 5s, and had a great conversation with Edwina. And she's like, oh my gosh, I love what you're doing with the Good Service podcast. I know the perfect person for you to talk to. And then we exchanged Instagrams, exchanged information, and then boom, she got me in front of Tiffany. And then Tiffany played, and I played a little bit of, I wouldn't call it phone tag, but calendar tag. Like, okay, when can we do this? When can we do this? When can we do this? We finally found time to record and get Pillars Initiative and Tiffany onto the Good Service. So that is how we got here. So huge shout out again to Edwina Price and How in the Health. Of course, Leslie White for hosting that awesome event. There's actually an event tonight. So very excited to join and be a part of that. But very much more excited to share who Pillars Initiative is. So for those of you who don't know, Pillars Initiative, they are dedicated to addressing the root causes that may hinder our community's efforts to lead healthy and productive lives. Their vision of effective change is aimed at improving the well-being of our community by providing a safe and supportive environment. They offer a range of services, including behavioral health, preventative services, career planning, resources and referrals, educational support, modern support groups to help combat isolation, suicide rates, and other mental health concerns. Doing so by leveraging their expertise and the resources, they strive to empower underserved and at-risk individuals and help them achieve their full potential. So join them in their mission to create a healthier and more equitable society for us all. So Pillars Initiative, Tiffany, one last time, I'm going to keep giving you your flowers. So
Thank you.
you are so welcome. Would love to dive in to your story, right? I've done a lot of research. We've had a few conversations, but for the people, right? I shared a lot at the beginning. You're a first generation college graduate. You have 2 master's degrees. Those who don't know, you were also in the pageant, the pageantry side of things when you were living in LA. How did we get here, right? What's your story? Like, how did we get here to you heading such a beautiful organization doing great things with Pillars Initiative?
Wow. Yeah, you went back, taking me back. So it all started, I was the youngest of 3 in a single parent household. I lived with my mom at the time, and I knew I needed a lot of support. So I had my grandmother, I had teachers who really pushed me and helped me become or believe in myself. When I did meet my father, I actually met my father on his deathbed. He did not pass away at that time, but he was diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. And if you know anything in the 90s, when you're diagnosed with that, that's considered a death sentence. His journey came from drug use. So my dad was an active user when I was younger. And at that time, unfortunately, drugs had a control over him. And so when I met him, I did not know what our relationship would be. But once he became in active recovery, so he was in active recovery for 23 years before he passed away. So I had 23 additional years of my father. And he was a community advocate, supporting anyone he can in active recovery, the community in general, the homeless population. He was in and out of homelessness, in and out of jail. So he knew what that life entailed, and he instilled, even the short time of us experiencing each other, he changed my life in a sense, encouraging me to go to college or pursue college. And this is after I knew that I wanted more for my life than what I was presented. And I auditioned for performing arts high school. And when I went into this high school, I did not know college was a thing. I did not know it was something that I was able to attend and pursue. And so that changed my life, and with my mother's encouragement, I was able to pursue college. And I went on to college, and I continued to go and stay in college until 3 degrees later. But even in college, I was really big on community. I knew that we cannot be in this world by ourselves. You need support, you need help, you need to know that you have somebody. So I was active in Student Activities Council. I was the president there for 2 years. I'm in my sorority, Zeta Phi Beta sorority, and we were just really big on community events, community support groups, making sure that, again, everyone felt included and accepted for who they are. So that's kind of my journey, because I did not have the pristine, polished childhood. I dealt with a lot of adversity. I definitely know that transitioned me into the world of community service. I've only worked for nonprofits in my professional life. And so that's why I went to pursue my second degree in nonprofit management. And that led me to Pillars because I just knew that I could do more. I can do more, I can be more, and I can support more people. In doing it by myself. After I left college, I did pursue more modeling. So I moved to Los Angeles to do modeling, and that organically pushed me in the world of more pageantry. So I was Miss North Hollywood. I cannot remember the year. This was so long ago. And I went on to be Miss California. But again, my platform in pageant world was community support. And so my life revolves around mental health support, suicide awareness, because of course with isolation, a lot of mental health concerns can lead to people dying by suicide. And especially after the pandemic, it's been unfortunate for the number of young people, young adults that we've actually had die by suicide. And of course, organically, substance abuse prevention, because as a child of someone who is actively using, I understand the struggles that the family has to endure because of those choices. So I'm really big on prevention and recovery.
Yeah. No, well, first off, thank you for sharing so vulnerably your story, right? And what has led you to get to this point as the leader you are, and your heart to serve, right? I believe it's by no happenstance that you're where you're at today. I believe God is, the ultimate designer and, maestro in making sure we get to where we need to go, right? As long as we're obedient and we listen to our hearts in that conversation with him. And, that's led you here today, right? And I had a whole slew of questions. Now I have more questions. I don't even like that. I would love to just talk with you around because
Onion, keep peeling. A lot of stuff
no,
behind it.
yeah, right. It's Shrek that said you just keep peeling back the layers. So no, just and I see some parallels too with your story and my story. Didn't meet my father till I was about 6 or so. Uh, and just being again a child of my mom was an only parent, my 3 boys, all the things, and just seeing her. Oh man, she 3 boy. We were rambunctious to say the least. To say the least. And we played sports year round. So I'm like, I don't know how she did it, but being impacted myself and our family by suicide, drug abuse, drug use and recovery and things. Um, I just to learn that and about you in this moment made me reflect on myself and my background, right? And so, again, just thank you for sharing and being strong, the strong person, the strong leader you are, and sharing your story with the world today. So, thank you there. What was it like? You meet your father, um, and you don't know 'cause who knows how HIV works and AIDS works, and if one day you're just gone. What was that like for you to have the mindset to be intentional about your relationship with him after not knowing him?
So, it was kind of interesting because I did meet him so young, and at that time, we did not think he was going to make it. And unfortunately, at that time, people were just as confused about HIV/AIDS. So it wasn't that my mother, of course, brought me to the hospital, and that was the first time I met him. And there was still a transition of years between us actually engaging in that relationship, because my mom was protective and she did not understand what that meant. And of course, if you've ever been with someone who is actively using, did they really turn their life around? Have they
Hmm.
really changed? Is this the really, and so it took a while for him to actually commit to being in active recovery for that relationship to start. And it did not start with me reaching out. Well, fortunately, we didn't have phones at that time like that. We didn't get phones until I was probably 16. So um he was in my life, but he did not become active in my life until I was around 16 years old. And he hosted my Sweet 16 party, and from there, it was kind of like we were inseparable. And it took the years of him coming into my life and trying to be intentional about developing that relationship, because he has 4 other kids, but we were all over in New York, New Jersey, and Georgia. I was luckily I was in the same state as him, so him and myself and my younger brother through my dad were able to form a better relationship with my father. Not saying that he did not form a relationship with his older sisters, but my older siblings, but we had more time to organically make that relationship. But it took him to be intentional about his life and what he wanted for him to come into our life and accepting of him. And of course, it wasn't something that it was like, yeah, this is my dad, because I remember growing up and there was the father and daughter dance, and I couldn't participate. I remember I still had that hurt that I had to pursue counseling. I had to pursue my own mental health to actually allow that relationship to form between us. And because he was, again, so intentional about his life, he went into counseling. He was really a big advocate on mental health and, of course, prevention and recovery. So it was a two-way street. It was both of us really organically letting that relationship form without pressures of, what is expected, or, my mom getting in the way or anything. It was just us making sure that we had a relationship, and him showing up. Once he came in my life, he showed up. There
Yeah.
was times in which, I remember in undergrad, and I don't even think I shared this with anybody, but I actually had a suicide attempt in undergrad, and he drove from Atlanta to Columbus, where I was at school, and picked me up and was like, you will be with me for the weekend, and we will, go to counseling and see what's going on. And when I graduated college, I moved in with him. So that was our first time living together. But again, it was him showing up for me when I needed him is what made our relationship so strong.
Yeah. No, that's ooh. Oh
Yeah,
man,
life is
you gonna have
life.
me emotional on the airwaves. But that's okay. We're allowed to be emotional. We're allowed to feel our feelings. That means we're alive, we're living. Um,
Yes.
that's just so special. So incredibly special. Um, I think there's a lot that we all could learn from your story and your relationship with your father. And the intentionality of just showing up, trying. You don't have to have all the answers, but it's worth, giving it your best effort.
Yeah.
And that's such a beautiful thing. Like, again, such a beautiful thing to have the heart you did to let him in, and to work on that together. What did you learn about yourself through your relationship? I know it was, again, only about 23 years you shared, but from 16 to where you're at today, what has your relationship taught you about yourself and the parent you want to be?
Well, it's funny. I was just laughing with my sister about this. I am a lot like my dad. So I know my mom was really upset that relationship happened, because it's like I look like him, I walk like him, I talk like him, I'm in the community
Oh,
like him. I know she was like, but he encouraged me to speak my truth,
mhm.
embrace my story, and be okay knowing that my life isn't perfect. And it's okay not to be okay sometimes. And it's okay to show up who you are authentically. That definitely, learning him and learning more about him and just the people who lives he's changed, because when he was in recovery, like, he did the 12-step program. He was really big on community. And when we had his funeral services, so many people just came out and talked about who he is. There's so many magazine articles about my father, and it's just the way that you can do a 360 and be someone. Well, yeah, you can turn around completely and change who you are and live your story authentically. Because again, I know we're talking about my life, but it's also like I just really want to hone in on the fact that my father had HIV/AIDS from a broken needle that he used under a bridge in New York, because he was homeless at that time. But again, when we hear about HIV/AIDS growing up, we thought it was, unfortunately, the gay man
Yeah.
thing, and that's not the case. And so for him to be a poster child of this, you don't have to live this lifestyle in order to get this disease. And so we had red ribbons everywhere. I think I have one somewhere here, but we had red ribbons everywhere, and he was just really big on community. So he again taught me to live my life authentically, not be ashamed of my journey and my story, to speak my truth out loud, accept who I am, and if I can help somebody along the way, even if it's just one person, reach out and help someone else, because that's the only way that we're not supposed to do life by ourselves. We're supposed to have community. We're supposed to have that support. And so him coming into my life at the time that he did really encouraged me to step out on faith and do some things that I never thought that I could.
Yeah. Man, well, he's looking down on you, right? You're your own personal guardian angel, at the right hand of God, right? Making sure that his baby gets what she needs.
Yep.
Through and through. But yeah, no, so much to learn, and I hope everyone listening is able to. We all go through a lot, day in and day out, or through the course of our lifetime, even the course of a year, let alone a month, right? And my hope is that your story gives strength. I know it will give strength to those that are listening today. So again, I just appreciate you for being so vulnerable and strong and sharing. I talked about parallels, mental health, suicide, something that's very unfortunate. It's too close to home for me, right? I have siblings that have failed attempts. I have lost cousins to suicide. I've lost friends to suicide. And, not just within our world, but especially within the Black community, there's always been a stigma with counselings and having a therapist and those sorts of things. I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy now almost a full 3 years. It'll be November, it'll be 3 years. And I love it. Like, it's been the greatest thing I've ever. I remember I told my mom, I was like, hey, I'm going to therapy. Because the one company I was working at, because I have a sales background, they offered therapy services for free. I'm like, wait, I've had a coach in all my life, financial advisor, I have mentors, I've had God give me this vision of the man I'm supposed to be, the husband I'll become, the father I'll become. I can't get there if I don't know these things about myself and do the work, right? I remember telling my mom, okay, I'm going to go to therapy. She said, well, is everything okay? What's wrong? And I'm like, no. Like everything's fine. It could be better. That's the reason I want to go, because I know I can be better. I know I'll get better. But unfortunately, in our community, it's frowned upon, right? And it's incredibly hard to access for underserved peoples. And I say peoples as in yellow, Black, brown, and even some of our white friends and counterparts that may not be affluent or, be of that upper to middle class, right? So just curious for you, right? After you said you had your attempt, you've been in counseling, what would you share with folks that are listening today that maybe will, where you once were or where I am, where people around me, this is suicide is something that we need more. We need more free counseling, more free therapy. We need more free access to these services. In my opinion, I think you would agree. But what would you share with folks that are listening that are currently battling some things themselves or have been adjacent to suicide in their journey?
That's a good question. I will first say, and I know people are like, well, you don't even know me. The way my heart is set up, you are loved. You are loved. You are wanted. You deserve your place on this earth. You deserve to be here. And I don't want anyone to feel like they're doing this alone. And that's why Pillars is here. And if you don't have a Pillars near you or a way to get in touch with us, there's somebody who is there with open arms to hear your story, to talk you through this. Time by suicide is an easy way out. It's why? You don't have to do that. Life, it only gets better if you continue on this journey. But if you discount yourself into making that choice, it's such a short-term decision. You're worth more. You're worth more. And I'm trying not to get into the spiritual or the crying aspect of it, but you're here for a reason. It's okay to get help. It's okay, like I said earlier, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say, I'm tired. Yesterday, I was tired. I was tired. I stayed in bed. My team called me and they were like, Tiffany, yeah, we're going to cancel all your meetings today and we're not going to be at the office because you need to go to. I was tired. Not saying that suicide was on my mind, but it was more so like I was having a mental health, like I needed a moment. I needed a moment to myself, and it's okay. It is okay to choose yourself. It's okay to prioritize yourself. It's okay to prioritize your mental health. And it's okay to go to therapy and talk to somebody about it if you can afford it. And if you can't afford it, there's support groups around the world, country, that you can sign up for and just come and share your story. Pillars, even we had a support group where we didn't have an agenda. We just came and talk it through so that you know that you're not alone. Like, I'm 9 times out of 10, if you're experiencing something, especially if you're a female, I have experienced it. I can tell you firsthand, I've experienced some things in my life that a lot of people don't know about. And know that everybody is going through something. Everybody's going through something. Share love, share joy, share your smile, and be the light that you want to see in the world. That's what I say. You are loved, you are wanted, and you deserve to be here. So take up space.
All the space.
Take
All
up
of the
all the
space.
space and don't take yourself out of it. Take up all the space that you need.
Mm-hmm. Now let's
Yeah.
be mindful, no double parking,
Yes.
but take it up. Go buy the land. Go be you. Go do
I
what
got
you're
a big
supposed
old
to
car,
do.
so I may
Oh,
have to double park sometime.
nah, yeah. Mama three.
I got 3 kids.
Yeah, mama three, and they're just tots right now, but they're only gonna grow,
Yeah.
so I can only imagine the SUV is gonna upgrade or the caravan's gonna,
Yeah, Platinum Max now. I don't think you can get any bigger now.
you hear
I'm
that?
not going into a minivan. That's not going to happen. So, double park
Going,
when you need to, but make sure you have space for other people.
yeah, yeah. You hear that, everybody? She drives a Transformer. She drives an Autobot. She drives an
All
Autobot.
the 3 coming through.
Yeah. Oh man. In the essence, right? Like, similar to what your relationship with your father taught you about yourself has led you here. What has your journey from being someone that had a failed suicide attempt, you lead people, now you lead an organization, is working tirelessly to uproot some of this mindset and shift this for underserved folks. What has it taught you about yourself in this journey?
It has honestly taught me and again, I never really shared that suicide attempt with anyone, of course, like my husband and stuff knows, but it's kind of like, and my friends who were there at that time know, but it was like, if I would have died by suicide, what would my world and my community, my kids wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have my husband. I wouldn't have pillars. So it's kind of like, it's taught me that I have a purpose. I have a purpose. And it's not even just through my organization in general. Tiffany Alicia Cuthbert has a purpose to be here. And so again, that's what it's taught me, that I have a purpose and I am needed in this world. And God reminds me all the time that everything that I do, even in the darkest hours when no one's paying attention, it doesn't go unseen. Someone always notices, someone is always there to support, someone is always there to bless our organization so that we can bless more people.
Yeah. And as a leader of a nonprofit, there's a lot that you're tasked with. How do you use your past experiences to help you overcome new adversities and new challenges, right? You have a whole new festival series coming up, right? This is your first time having a festival
No.
series?
No, a series, yes. We did do a pilot last year, but this is our first series, yes.
So how have you used that to?
So I am big on resilience. Resilience is everything. Like, it's what helps us when things get tough, when things get hard. So I make sure that I am showing up again for my team, showing up for my community and our work, but also showing up for myself, again, focusing on my own self-care, making sure I'm staying connected with people who are supportive. Like, I probably got 2 text messages because I shut down yesterday. I got 2 text messages in this call alone just saying, hey, I'm just checking on you. So I have people who are, I don't do this by myself. I don't do this by myself. I do this with my team. And I learn from every experience, and I know whether it's good or bad, it's a teaching, a teaching. Teach something is going to be here to teach me. So resilience is all about bouncing back, but also learning how to grow stronger from every challenge. And I think that has helped me in this journey, and understanding that my past is helping me be who I am today. If I would have broken relationships with people through my career, I said my career has been in nonprofit, but if I had broken some relationships, I wouldn't have some opportunities that I have today, because people know who I am for who I am. And as a stand-up citizen, I guess you would say, a community leader who's really passionate about this. And so because they believe in me, they're able to sow in some of the visions that I have, including the cultural festival. And so last year, the state was tasked to do a festival. And so they reached out to me personally to see if that's something I could take on. And we were able to do our first one in Savannah without a hitch. Like, we had everything stacked against us. We didn't get funding till last minute. I think some of our funders didn't get paid till 5 months later. That's not on any fault of Pillars, but it was so much. But we were able to serve over 1,500 people in a festival that was so shortly promoted. We were going into a foreign community, because I could see if someone says, hey, Tiffany, do a festival right here in DeKalb County or Gwinnett. Oh, yeah, I live here. I can make it happen. But I had to go to Savannah and do this festival, and no one knew me, and so just going into a community, knowing that I can't go into this community and say, hey, we're Pillars, we're doing a festival and you guys need to be on board. No, I created community coalitions in those communities. So now I can reach out to my Savannah people, and it's a whole committee that we meet every Friday about this festival. And so it's me coming in knowing that I'm coming into a different community, maybe not knowing a lot about the community, but embracing the community and taking their information and letting them lead this festival instead of me. The state saw the success from that, and they decided to give us a tour. So now this year we'll be going to 6 different communities. Savannah's up first. Yay. So we're going back to Savannah on September 1st, and then we'll be hitting Albany metro area, somewhere north. I can't figure out where the place is right now. Somewhere up north, and then we'll have Albany, Columbus, and Augusta. So we will be going in these communities doing community cultural festivals. And yes, it's cultural festival, but we are talking about the power of connection, and how, again, connection kind of combats isolation, combats these mental health issues, suicide awareness, and substance abuse prevention, when you know that you have community and support. So we are connecting Georgia, and that's our theme, is connecting Georgia, and knowing that connected we thrive.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm all about community. I'm all about connection.
Yes.
I might have to pull up at a couple different tours, a couple different spots. Hey,
we have panels going on. So we're going to be on the stage talking about these issues. We have a whole resource book going out. And it's really just sharing the information that people, if you're not in this world, you may not know what Narcan is. You may not know what the Good Samaritan law is. And so we are making this stuff relatable, and we're coming to them. We're coming into these communities and saying, hey, yeah, we're going to have fun. We're going to talk some education, though, but we're going to have some fun. You have free massages. So we have this innovative idea that, again, I always laugh because people believe in my visions, because I kind of pushed this thought out, and they were like, yeah, let's throw funding behind it and make it happen. I'm like, I guess, so yeah, it's like, oh, you believe in what I think. So we are bringing this thing called a wellness tent across Georgia. And in this wellness tent, we will be doing free yoga, free massages, free mental health services, free meditation services, free sound baths, just those wellness things. For even though you're in the midst of a festival, take 10-15 minutes to yourself and come it's a busy day. Just come take a moment for yourself. Come choose yourself for a moment. And I think that is such an innovative idea, is to say that, somebody may not have been exposed. So the coolest thing that everything is cool in my mind, but we are bringing this virtual reality meditation opportunity. So you can put these virtual reality glasses, it goes to all the senses, and it actually takes you through a journey of meditation. This is like 15 minutes for yourself. Someone may have never even seen or knew that that was a thing, but we
Yeah.
want to bring this to your community. So I'm very excited about that. And yeah, we'll so it will be that will be the hit at all of our festivals. That's the thing that Pillars is doing. But of course, we're doing all of these festivals from well, 3 of them from scratch, and 3 of them we're partnering other people to bring the wellness tent out. So we're excited about it.
Well, listen, I've been bought in and sold since we started this conversation 36 minutes ago.
Come on.
Oh, come on with it. I need some
September
dates.
1st. I want to see you in Savannah. Come.
So that, oh, see, okay, now we gonna have to talk about that. I got some
Yes.
things going on September 1st, but that doesn't mean
It's
you said
okay.
Metro, Augusta. I got people in Augusta. I was just in Augusta last weekend.
We'll be
I'll
there
go back.
September 20th through 22nd for the Arts in the Hearts Augusta Festival. So yeah.
Hearts in the hearts. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. You know what? And coming back to something that you said earlier, right? And that thing is very important to highlight. And I'm paraphrasing, but you mentioned that you can't do this alone.
Yeah.
Not the success, not the execution of the tour, of the festival, the ideas, right? You just had the one idea, but I'm sure from that branched others, and then the people behind you saying, let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, get you a team of some sort, right? These are family, these are friends, these are coworkers. You don't win alone, you don't lose alone. I think, and you brought this up earlier, Tiffany, just around isolation is a big part of what leads down the path of some of these mental health challenges, suicidal thoughts, drug use. Like you think you're alone, right? You said 9 out of 10 women. I bet you think you're alone because of X, Y, and Z, and you're not, right? And there's been so many times I felt alone until I've found the courage to seek help or to just go to whatever social media platform, probably Instagram. Actually, it was very much so Instagram. The moment I'm thinking of, and to share it with the world. Okay, this is how I'm feeling. Is anyone else feeling this way? And you'd be surprised. The resounding results you'll get that you're not alone, and that in itself is comforting, right? Even through the challenging times. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, get you a team. It doesn't have to be 100 people. It can be 3 people. It can be 5 people, right? Just think about those people that you can count on, right? Or that you feel that you can tell anything and they're not going to look at you like sideways or any differently, because they know your heart, they know your character. But it takes a little bit of courage, right? So Tiffany and I are here to encourage you to just say something when something arises, to get ahead of it. So thank you, Tiffany, for just that reminder earlier. But I wanted to highlight that because I feel like that's been very important for the success of Pillars, and just kind of, again, some of the stories that you shared with us today. Now, when it comes to Pillars and where you're at, outside of the festivals that you've been doing, how are you targeting, are you going into the community once a month and meeting with schools, or are you meeting with, um, you know, drug abuse, other programs? Like, how are you going about identifying where to serve and how to serve?
Oh, this just depends on which one you're talking about. So again, Pillars, we are a pillar in a community. We believe that we are a community support system. So we focus on so many things. So like one thing, for instance, we created a financial literacy curriculum, 250 pages. Whew. That was a lot of my writing. But I created this curriculum it's for everybody. But I really had people of color, young people of color in mind. So this resource is more for young people who do not know what a credit union is, do not know what. So Pillars is big on providing that support services our community needs to live healthy lives. So yes, we focus on substance abuse, mental health, and suicide, but we also focus on life skills in general, life skills. Do you know how many young people don't know that you need to change the oil in your car? So it's just really providing that education, the foundation of education as it relates to doing real life after school. After you finish your high schooling, this is what life is about. Or even while you're in high school, this is, some people, have to grow up before their time. So they go through this journey of, I don't know how to pay a bill, or I don't know how I do this. So we talk about financial literacy a lot. We talk about entrepreneurship. Everyone's not meant to go to college. If you are here to go to college, we can help you in that, applying for college, making sure you understand the FAFSA, even in making sure you have a place to lay your head. So we also work with a lot of foster care students. So foster care who may need that extra educational support around it. So I can say that we kind of have our hands in a lot of pockets. Of course, some things are more than others right now, because like right now, we used to have a lot of support groups where we meet monthly, and we provide these support groups for men and women, and we just talk whatever the topic is, or if you had a question, we just organically had that conversation. Some of that stuff had to be on pause because of the festivals, but we plan to start those back up. Another thing that we do is we just do a community game night. We had a community game night last month. We probably had 30 to 40 people, and we literally just come and play games, and it gets intense. It like,
I believe it.
Is serious. We have to like give you a warning. If you're gonna play this game, you have to have strong and it's not that people come as by themselves. They come as friends, and they leave as family, and they're like, hey, when is the next game night? Like, I know you got festivals, but we need to hang out again. And it's just making sure that we have a community center that we have our doors open. If you need support, if you need something, if you need somebody to talk to. We had a job fair a couple of months ago with Goodwill, and everyone who came through these doors were able to leave with a job. And that was like 50 people. So we have our hands in a lot of pots. We did back to school. We're planning on doing a really big Thanksgiving drive this year, and we also annually do Black Santa. So we have a Black Santa here, and we have that's our hugest fundraiser out of the year, where we have so many people that just want to come experience someone who looks like them as a Santa. So we do a lot. We work with a lot of community partners. We'll work with a lot of churches. Yeah, we do a lot.
You do it like literally. You do it all. Like you do it all as truly being a pillar in the community. Like it's in the name. It makes all the sense in the world, right? Like to be a pillar, right? And your pillars are so foundational to so many things. What I want to say, I looked up, right, the definition of a pillar, just for namesakes and things. So the two definitions, right? The first is a vertical structure, stone, wood, or metal, used to support a building or as an ornament or monument, right? So, like, when you think when I think pillars, I always think back to like, the Pantheons and like the Greek, right? And just how old buildings were constructed back then. Everything is a pillar, right? The foundation is a pillar. Like you have nothing. There's no building. There's no meeting ground. There's no community without the pillar, right? And so again, I'm a good wordsmith. We talked about it a little bit before we got on. I like a good word. I like a good definition. So you are, you hit the nail on the head there, and I think you know that. I know you know that from the success that you've seen and the success that you'll continue to see. Share with the good people. Where's the community center at? How how regularly is it open? Even if you decide to take a day off, what does that look like? So that people can, just have an idea of where it's located and where they can possibly attend events if they live here in the Metro Atlanta area, of course.
Yes, so we are located at 2056 West Park Boulevard, and so this is in Stone Mountain, Georgia, right by Netherworld. So we're on the back side right in front of Netherworld, if you know anything about the Stone Mountain, Gwinnett area. So we're in Stone Mountain, but we're on the Gwinnett County line. Interesting, I know. We are open usually on the weekends and after school hours, because a lot of our clients, a lot of our students go to school and they'll come here. We are not open as much this fall because we'll be on the road a lot. But if you want to check out our events, bapillar.org is our main website, and this is where you'll see all of our upcoming events. We are active on Eventbrite, so you'll see, if you join our newsletter, you'll see all of our events as soon as we sign them up on Eventbrite. And then we are connectinggeorgia.org is where you can find our festivals. So this is where you'll see where we'll be at every month for the next 4 months until November. So connectinggeorgia.org is our festival platform, and bapillar.org is our website. And then our Instagram is We Are Pillars GA.
Excellent. Well, I mean, you beat me to it. We still got some questions and some conversation ahead. But listen, y'all know where to find her, whether that's socially or physically at the space when she's not doing the tours, rocking and rolling with the festivals. Okay. So I mentioned definitions, right? So I wasn't done with pillar definition because I think this is my favorite definition, right? It more so is pillar of strength, but still pillar. A person, that's you, Tiffany, who can be relied upon to give a great deal of support and comfort to others. You, my friend, are a pillar and a pillar of strength. So I wanted to share that one with you because I was like, this is so you. This is so you. So thank you for being the pillar of strength that you are. Have always been, not just within your community, right? But again, outside looking in, I'm sure there are people that have heard about you or have possibly done a little research on you that you've never even had an encounter with, but see you as that pillar of strength, as the mamapreneur you are, as the leader and servant leader you are. So thank you for that. Now, I mentioned I love a good definition, so I need your definition of what a good service is.
Jesus. Okay. Was that one of my questions? Definition of what good service is. I never have a question that makes me I'm still in awe of, being acknowledged as a pillar, because, you name something, you don't think about certain things. But yeah, good service. It all goes back to being a servant leader. It all goes back to knowing and understanding your heart posture and those who you are looking to serve. That's what good service is. You're serving. How are you showing up and serving your community, or how are you serving up and serving whoever you are looking to help? So having a heart posture of servants, having a heart posture to be a servant leader, it's a selfless thing. It's very selfless. It's not about us. It's about whose life we're looking to change or impact. So I think good service is really just having a heart to show up for your community and those that you serve.
Yeah. Oh, I love your definition. I love your definition.
That was just off the dome. Like, I didn't even have I remember that question. I would have prepared.
I got to throw a curveball in there every now and then. You can take any of the questions I had. We've even, we probably got to them adjacent.
I don't know.
That's the beauty of this, baby. That's the beauty of this. Yes.
Organic. That's all you're going to get from me is authenticity. I cannot say the word right now. And being organic. I'm going to tell you like it is.
Hey, as you should. You should. No. So, okay. The success, right? Success is such a objective word, right? Success may be different for you than what it is for me, what it is for, someone else that is just walking this earth, right? So when you think of success, what does success look like for We Are Pillars? Is it, hey, we want to impact this many people on a year, or we need to see, because it's hard to quantify what you do.
Yeah.
And that's generally how people, especially in this capitalistic world we live in, numbers. And I know for certain, with my background in nonprofit as well, a lot of donors and partners want to see numbers first before they're like, okay, we'll sign a check for you to go do the work. So when you think of success, how do you measure success at Pillars? And how do you kind of use that to share with the team, okay, hey, this is what success looks like. This is what we need to do each festival or each, game night. What does that look like?
So That is also, you kind of hit the nail on the head as it relates to nonprofit. That is a double-edged sword in a sense of, I was just telling my team about it when it came to the wellness tent. We have to justify. We have to justify why we are putting this funding into this. And the numbers are important because our funders, which are federally and state funders, they want to see how many numbers or how many people you have helped with that. But to me, our success is one person that comes into our festival or comes into our office that, again, does not feel alone and knows that they are welcomed here. Again, knows that they're loved, and that there is a community who's willing to rally behind them and support them in their endeavors, whatever that may look like. So even when it comes to our festivals, I want everyone to come in and just, hey, grab this, come check out, take a moment to yourself. Even the kids, we have a kids area where they're going to be doing yoga and their own activities, and just making sure that everyone feels seen. And so success to me in general is about making meaningful impact in the lives of others. It's seeing the positive changes that our work brings to individuals and communities, whether it's someone gaining confidence, they're improving their mental health, or achieving a personal goal because of the support we provided. Success isn't always about numbers or milestones. It's about the stories of transformation and empowerment that comes from our efforts. It's also about staying true to our mission and our values, ensuring that everything we do is aligned with our commitment to serving and uplifting others. Ultimately, our success is based on the ripple effect that will extend beyond what we can see, and it leads to that positive change. So, and I say that because even when it came to Savannah, Savannah spoke this second festival up without it, without us even knowing. So I did a news, they came when we did the Savannah Cultural Festival last year, the reporter came and interviewed me, and I looked at the news afterwards and they were like, yeah, we'll be here again next year. And in my head, I'm like, well, we're not funded for next year. I didn't think, do you know something that I don't know?
Yeah, right.
Do you know something that but I also had people messaging us was like, you definitely started something in Savannah that we need to continue because we have never seen the community get together like this. Like, we have everything from Polynesian dancers to Afrocentric to, we have lion dancers coming out. So it's like just making sure that, again, everyone is seeing our work. Our work is translated. And if you go to our website, we have like 15 different languages that our website is translated on for Connecting Georgia. And so, again, it's like making an impact and providing that information that's going to have that ripple effect for others and the people outside of the people who actually attended our events or attended our game night. Yeah. So that's what success is to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is what success looks like. And again, right, just the a mentor of mine, ripple effect, right? Compound or compound pond, drop the pebble in and everything ripples out, right? One of my best friends, Asante Hill, who started Black Men and Women of Valor. It's a transitional mentorship academy here in Atlanta back in 2020. So I had a few years of excellent and successful operations. The ripple effect, right, was very important around, hey, it starts with just one action, right? And that's going to touch somebody's life, and that's going to touch somebody's life. And, we talk, we have these beautiful things. I don't know where my cell phone is. It's not around because we're recording, but right. Like, we have so much access now. I'm not going to say everybody, but the majority, a lot of folks, to these stories and to kind of combine them in a random or happenstance way. So I just love that, that's how you see success. And that is only I can't wait to hear about when we part 2 of this, right? When we talk about this time next year, okay, now you have 12 festivals. Oh, you're getting outside of Georgia. Oh, you're going to be here and there, right? Like, and just as things continue to happen and the light and the love that you and Pillars, not just establish within communities, but highlight and pull to the surface for us to see and to experience. These stories are only going to, precede you, build you all up even more. So I can't wait to see what that looks like. But But thank you for sharing what success looks like for you all and how that goes about. All right. So we're moving to the second portion of the show called Mind, Body, and Soul. This is a more introspective, just questions, right? Just get to know you a little bit more. And I love it because I get to ask a few different things. So in my research, I saw you had this quote. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Steve Jobs. Why does that resonate with you? So it was on your LinkedIn, by the way. I don't know the last time you saw your LinkedIn. But why is that your banner? Why is that the quote for you?
Okay, so I put this quote up years ago, but I feel like it resonates with me because it speaks to the power of vision and being bold. Oops, sorry, alarm to pick up kids. I have time, but the quote speaks to the power of vision and being bold in who you are. So if you're going to change the world, even if it's your little world in your small perimeter, it requires courage, again, resilience, and the willingness to dream big, even when others will doubt you. Because when Pillars started, it wasn't like, oh yeah, let's do it. There was those people like, yeah, Tiffany, you really think you're gonna do that full time? You know how many people have nonprofits? You know how many? You've heard it all, but is the dream big even when others will doubt you? And it reminds me that the greatest innovations and social changes have come from those who dare to believe in something greater than themselves. That's why I chose it. And I believe in something greater than myself. Yeah.
You got me fired up.
Yes.
Got me fired up. So good. So good. And we can say thank you to Steve Jobs for that quote and also his innovations and for being bold, because
yes,
I have an iPhone. I'm an Apple loyalist. Some people like Android, Microsoft.
I have both. I don't
Keep
like
the
a Mac
green
computer.
messages away from me, sister. Keep the green messages away from me.
That's my business phone, because I learned that my business clients like, I'm not texting on Android. I need your iPhone. So, but don't put me in front of a Mac computer, because Mac computers drive me crazy. When I go to one screen and all of the screens pop up, I already have enough tabs open in my brain. I don't need you to open up all my tabs. Like, it's too much.
Not the tabs. A tab monster. You have tabs galore. Ugh. Gives me anxiety just thinking about it.
Everything pops up. Yeah, I can't. But yeah.
So
Steve, shout out to him.
Shout out. Okay. You're a mom of 3. You're a mompreneur, right? Like,
yes.
How do you balance being a mother, being a wife, being a leader? Like, we get 24 hours in a day, sister. Like, how do you do it?
Yeah. It's not easy. Life is lifing for all of us right now. And so I put my kids in school early on, and it's not like a regular school. It's called like a mommy day out program. So I have my younger kids are enrolled in that, and my 5-year-old just went into kindergarten. So, I'm excited about that. So I do have time during the day to actually get work done. And I could not do this without my husband. And I don't give him enough credit, but I would not be the woman I would, but I can do this only with his support. So this man took a year off of work last year to support me after having our last child, our 1-year-old. And I was able to get so much done knowing that I had somebody to take care of my kids with, of course, in a 2-parent household. Like, it definitely was life-changing for me to have a husband that believes in me, believes in my dreams. I have to go to Savannah next week for a conference. He took off work. Like, he is willing to show up for me and know that, remind me that, again, I'm not alone. So marriage ain't easy. Sometimes I want to strangle him. He knows this. I'm not telling you nothing new. But is worth it, and having him helps me balance what I need to do. Or it's like, even showing up in a simple sense, like, my alarm just went off. I usually have to go pick up my younger kids at 1:00, but he was like, that's not enough time to get what you need done. Then you have to wait 2 hours, go pick up our oldest. I'm going to pay for after school. So I'm here because my husband is paying for after school for my kids to just stay a little bit longer. So he helps me balance and knowing when I need to shut down. My team is very supportive of me in my life. Like, and I'm like that with my team because I have people on my team who have young kids and they're like, I'm never going to be able to find a job that I can leave at 2:00 and go pick up my son and come back and still get work done in the late hours. And, so it's like I give people the same grace that I give myself, and knowing that life again is hard and we have to balance and juggle some things, unfortunately. So, and even my clients. So I don't talk a lot about tech, but I do creative consultant, like project management work on my, if you would say 9 to 5, but I do that as well. But every client that I take on, they understand that, hey, my kids and my family comes first. This comes first. I will definitely support you and what you have to do. I'm good at what I do. That's one thing that I can say. I'm good at what I do. My clients have been my clients for years, but I have to have prioritization and grace. Like, I have to know that I have to compartmentalize family, business, pillars, team, and give myself grace when certain things falter.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the perfect mom. I know every day is not a good day. Sometimes my son overstimulates me by 2:00 and I'm, you know,
Yeah.
you can't take on too much, but I know that again, I have to give myself grace. So that's my balancing act, is just knowing that life is hard and we're all just trying to make it. No one has all the answers, but recognizing that each role is important and finding a way to be present in each one without overwhelming myself is that's how I balance things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, no, such a beautiful, beautiful answer to that. So thank you for sharing. Did you always want to be a mother or a wife, let alone, right? Is that something that you had aspirations?
And I was talking to my friends about this recently. When I became a wife, I had a whole identity crisis. Like, I cried. I did not. I felt like I knew I was ready, but again, I felt like I've been independent for so long. Like, I don't know how to do something as a team in a sense. Or you mean I gotta merge my bank account with yours, or I have to change my name? It was such an identity crisis for me in choosing to be a wife. But I knew what God had for me, and so like our wedding hashtag was "Heaven is betting on us." Because I came into it as such an imperfect person, and he did too. But together we make each other. It's hard to talk about because a lot of people don't understand that, because they believe, again, you have to be whole in order to come into a marriage. I was not whole. I did not have everything together. I had so many triggers. I had so many things that I was dealing with. But God gave me a patient man who is willing to like overcome all the challenges with me. So I did not know I wanted to be a wife, but he made me realize that I can be. And he gave me the strength to be a wife. And the motherhood just kind of came. I knew I was going to be a mom. Didn't know what that was going to look like, but I knew I was going to be a mom, and I knew I wanted to give my kids differently than what I had, as far as like a 2-parent household. And, and that was just my decision. But being a mom is interesting because I also have like, my first degree is in education. I was supposed to be a teacher, but they put my student teaching at the end of my degree, and they put me in a room with kindergartners. And from that point, I decided never to teach. It wasn't for me. It was not my portion. I'm like,
Yeah,
if I
no.
did this at the beginning, I wouldn't be in this degree. Like, I wouldn't have chose this degree program. But yeah, they decided to put me in kindergarten. And I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me. And I say that to say, my kids, I love my kids, but they are a lot. And if you know anything about pandemic babies, is my household has every horoscope. If you're into horoscope, we have every horoscope in our house basically, and it's just so many different personalities. But I love them things. Like, I love them so much. I love them, and so I did not know I was gonna be a wife. I did not know how I was gonna be a mom, but I wouldn't have asked for anything different than what I have right now. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Any advice for those who have a similar, like, hey, I don't know if I'll be a wife. I don't know if I'll be a mother. Any advice to those, and even for men, right? That you don't know if you're going to be a husband or a father. Like myself, right? Tiffany, I've always known at my core of my heart,
Yeah.
I can't wait to be the super dad, right? I can't wait to just be an awesome husband first, but then to be a father. I've always, from middle school to high school to college, would do mentor and have a mentee, would go reading to the second and third, fourth grade classes. Was a dare role model. So I'm meeting with the fifth and sixth graders about, those things. I loved it. And I still love it to this day. I'm in a children's ministry at church. Kids are just, they crack me up. I love kids. They're just the purest form of human. My nephew, he's 10. You think he's 70 sometimes, the conversations we have. I'm like, where do you get some of this from? Right? I've always known and had on my heart, like, man, I can't wait. When God has that for me, excellent. But for those that don't see that for themselves or are unsure, maybe because of some of their own experiences that weren't as positive, what would you share with them?
So again, I went back to when I said that if you're a woman and you've gone through some stuff, I probably went through it 100 times at this point. Like I have been in an abusive relationship before, and I think that has changed. That was one reason, was like, I'm not gonna be a wife because of how controlling he was in my life. I was like, yeah, this is not for me. I just, because I thought that that's how it's supposed to be. But what I would say is you have to be, or communication is key in every relationship, in every desire, in every, even in choice to being a parent. Like, communication is key. Whoever, you can't become a parent by yourself. You have to have somebody. So making sure that you understand what your who you are, even if you're not perfect, because no one's perfect. But embracing that imperfection and knowing that you don't have to be perfect, in choosing to be someone's wife, in choosing to be someone's mom, because making sure that you give yourself the grace to grow into that role is imperative. Like, you have to have grace. You have to know that you have to communicate with whoever this spouse is. I don't believe in getting in those unhealthy relationships just for the sake of being in unhealthy relationships. In the sake of being in a relationship, I don't believe in marrying somebody because, again, you want to be a wife, or being a mom because you're like, oh, I just like, no, be ready to adapt to these new roles that you want. Be open for them. In your prayer life, what are you asking for? We can't just say, hey, God, I want a husband. Like, no, I want a husband of valor. I want a husband who can position himself as the head of this household. You have to be specific in what you want, because God will give you a man. He'll give you a man, and it may not be the man for you.
Listen, you preaching today, preaching.
Making sure that you really ask for what you want. And I know that nowadays people have 100 lists. You gotta meet. Everybody's not gonna meet everything on your list. What are you willing to work through? What are you willing to accommodate? What are you willing to say? You may not check this, but also knowing that, this kind of is a caveat, also knowing that you cannot change anybody. People feel like you can get into a relationship and you can change a person to becoming who you want them to be. You cannot change a person. They have to make the decision to change themselves if they're willing to change. And if they choose not to change, can you accept them for who you are? Because I know when my husband got to me, he was like, this girl got a mouth on her. She can curse you out without cursing. Like, like this woman, God, is this really for me? And he accepts me for who I am. He's okay with knowing that, let me not let my wife know this because she's gonna pop off about something. So let me make sure that he can't change who I am. This is who I am. This is who I've always been. Yes, I may be willing to marry my words with grace sometime and just not say something. Maybe I'll choose to be quiet versus speaking my mind, but he cannot change who I am. So just really being specific in your prayer life, understanding asking for what you want. When you do get that person, making sure you're communicating, maybe making sure that you embrace your imperfections, and communicate those, making sure that you give yourself grace and that you still choose yourself. Because if I wouldn't have chose myself, I would have been in that toxic relationship, thinking
Yeah.
I was supposed to have a kid with this guy who I wasn't. But I chose myself, and God gave me something greater than I could have ever imagined. So, yeah. Yeah.
Listen, y'all just got a whole sermon on motherhood, wifehood.
My board calls me first lady, so
First lady for sure. For sure. Right hand to the president, right hand in the pulpit.
married to
You
a
got it.
peacock.
You
Yeah,
got it.
that's interesting.
Oh man, too good. All right, we could talk all day. All right. All right. My last question.
Okay.
Man, this is it's been so good. It's always been so good. The world would be a better place if. Finish that sentence.
You're going to ask me this one.
And I didn't prepare, and I didn't prepare. Okay. Because you said you may ask one of these. Let me wrap it. Okay, let's see. The world would be a better place if we all practiced more empathy and kindness. If we truly cared for each other's struggles, if we truly took the time to understand that everybody is going through something, I believe that we can create a more compassionate and just society by just practicing empathy and kindness to each other.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I think cartoons, even adult shows, need to get back to some of those core things that we got.
Yeah.
They don't make
Yeah.
shows, TV shows, kid shows like they used to anymore. I was told
My
that
kids are
Gracie's
watching
basically a
old
rap. I think it's called Gracie's Circle.
Yes. Gracie's Corner.
Gracie's Corner. Yeah, they're like basically she's just a cartoon rapper. I'm like, that's crazy. But hey, they're figuring some things out.
Yeah.
But no, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, empathy goes the longest way.
Yeah.
And being considerate and being open
Mhm.
goes a long way as well. So I appreciate you. That answer. That was mind, body, and soul, everybody. So fun. Okay. All right. The one question I gotta ask: how did you end up in pageantry? Like, I feel like that's like such a how does one just be like, oh yeah, I wanna do pageantry and then
Kind of
become Miss California?
It does make sense. So when I moved to LA, because I was supposed to be on a show. Made it through all the rounds, and God knew what I did not need at that time, and I did not need to be on the show. I would have showed out, and I would have embarrassed myself, and you know how they say when we grew up without the phones, nobody taking pictures of all the stuff we were doing. Yeah, I didn't need to be. I did not need to be in that world, and I'm thankful for that. But I say that to say, so I've always been into modeling. I've always been into modeling, and I've always been into community. And so when you marry modeling and community, you get pageantry. Because at the end of every pageant girl, there's a mission, there's a goal. It's usually about something about community. And so I was really good at, again, positioning myself in the modeling world, but also having an organic conversation with you when they ask you to stage questions that are very much so community focused. I was able to speak my mission with my whole heart. So that's how I went into pageantry. I was able to merge the modeling and the beauty of things in the community work that I do. So yeah, it led to pageantry. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite dress that you ever wore that like still to this day you're in love with?
I think there was one picture that I had a blue dress on. I don't know what year that was, but it was like my not campaign pictures. It was like once I won Miss California, I had a blue dress on, and I just felt like it made me have a whole hourglass. I look at that picture still to this day sometimes, like, yes,
Who
that
is
body
she?
big.
Who is she? Oh yeah, that's me. Oh yeah, that's me.
And I printed those out. I used to pass them out when we were doing signature, like autographs and stuff. So yeah, that dress, I know it's probably somewhere in my closet, but I Yeah, it's one picture that I have, and if I find it, I'm gonna send it to you. Like, I love that picture.
I love it. I love it. Well, no, thank you for
Husband's
sharing.
a photographer, so he took that picture too. So yeah, that's even more reason why I love that dress.
Yes. So I'm talking about. We love, and all of the different forms it comes in and shows up. Um, all right, everybody. Unfortunately, it's the end of the show. As you all know, this is before we go. So I'm going to turn things over. Closing remarks for Miss Tiffany Alicia Cuthbert to share again how you all can follow her, follow Pillars Initiative, stay in contact, donate, volunteer, share this episode right as it hits the airwaves coming soon. So, yes, I'm going to turn things over to you, Tiffany. So this is your moment, and then after you share with how they can follow and find you, any just closing remarks on today's conversation?
Well, I kind of gave all the pillars information earlier, but again, our website is beapillar.org. We are going through a construction phase on our website because we have so many exciting things coming up, but that is our website. Our social media is We Are Pillars GA on Facebook and Instagram. We can't take on any more social media. That's all you're going to get from me. Personally, so we have a newsletter and everything on our websites. And for the festivals, if you're looking to engage in one of our upcoming festivals, it's called connectinggeorgia.org. This is where you'll find out more about Pillars, our funders, our mission, and what festivals we'll be coming to next. That's the same on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Connecting Georgia. And personally, I haven't been doing my personal branding like I should, but you can reach me at tiffanyalicia.com and love Tiffany Alicia on social media. And that's on Facebook and Instagram. And that's love Tiffany, Tiffany, Alicia, Alicia on Facebook and Instagram.
Excellent. So y'all better go follow and get connected and pull up to these festivals.
Yes.
So you can become a pillar and help be a pillar.
Yes.
Maybe permeate and end up being a pillar in your own community. That's the hope, right? Any closing remarks on today's conversation before we go?
No, not really. Just thank you for your obedience in starting this podcast. Definitely a huge need to recognize. It feels great to be seen. It feels great to be recognized because we oftentimes don't get that recognition. So hats off to you for being obedient with what God has given you. I pray much success. I pray national platforms. I pray grace. I pray all your heart's desires, even in this wife. I pray that you find that one. You tell me all about her. So thank you for being obedient. Thank you for showing up for yourself and your community. You are appreciated. You are loved. Even in our short time of getting to know each other, I definitely enjoyed, when I got your messages, like I knew, okay, I need to look at this. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for serving your community. And I guess closing remarks for me is just know that if you need somebody, there's always somebody around the corner. There's always somebody who's willing to be there for you and stand in the gap for you. And if you need somebody that you do not have or you may not know, you always have Pillars. So reach out to Pillars. You can email us, Instagram us, Facebook us. If we will find you the support you need to make sure that you live a healthy life with success and knowing that you have a community behind you. So that's my heart's desire. So yeah. I don't know how that was for closing remarks, but
That was perfect. That was you. That was everything. Yes.
And I always say, baby steps are still steps.
Mm-hmm.
Passionate about knowing that every step you take, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. So you can do it.
That it is. It is. Well, listen, y'all. First off, thank you for the incredibly kind words, the encouragement, the time today to be with me, to be with our community and the audience. I can't wait to share this with the world and for them to fill it up, right? To share it with their world and just the great things that this conversation is going to do for so many people, as well as yourself and Pillars. So, I love what I do. I love what we do here at the Good Service Podcast. And we're on a mission, right? Like that Steve Jobs quote couldn't be more real. I am crazy. I talk about changing the world every day through the Good Service Podcast. And that's until my time is done ticking, that's what we're going to do. So thank you for just the acknowledgement, again, the kind words, even the nudge there and the open prayer on my wife, wherever Miss Dunham is, wherever this message finds her. And then, of course, everybody, you know who I am. I'm your host, Joseph Dunham. Thank you again for coming to this place to find, to be inspired, to hear about the good news and the great services that are happening within, communities across our world. You all will make this possible. So continue to refer, continue to subscribe. The YouTube channel, I promise, you're going to see Tiffany's face. You're going to see my face fairly soon. Bear with me. We're getting there. I'm learning a lot in season 2. I am not the most technical person. But please keep sharing on LinkedIn, Instagram, listening on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify. We're everywhere. But we're nowhere without you. So thank you all so much. Also, quick thank you and shout out to our sponsors of season 2, Cozy Brand, Life as It Should Feel. Check them out on Instagram at _stay cozy. That's the K that you see. So they have apparel, hoodies, all the things, candles. They smell tremendous. And yeah, that's it for today. You know where you can find us, the Good Service Podcast on Instagram. Again, the YouTube channel is going to be in the LinkedIn tree, and the link tree. And then email us, the Good Service Podcast at gmail.com. Your comments, your referrals, and all the great things. So with that, I love you. We love you. Tiffany, thank you so much for being a pillar. Have a great rest of your day, y'all.